keep it real with ya.
Whew. Okay. So, first of all, I want to say happy Sunday. I got my Ginger Ito shirt on with my extra big boobs. Pay no mind of that. I've been having a really busy day. It's been a really stressful day, but I just wanted to get a short video out because I had this epiphany over the weekend when I was talking to, well, over the week. You know, I was talking to my trauma therapist, I was talking to my regular therapist, and I realized something about myself. And I guess I would have made this video a lot later after I made some other videos. But while it's on my mind, I just wanted to get it out there. So I want to talk about why I can't keep friends. And I know what you're thinking. I know a person who can't keep friends must be a sociopath, must be a psychopath. You know, like something must be wrong with them. Why can't you keep friends, Minu? Why? And I'm like, listen, I didn't know. I didn't know until recently. Okay, so I'm going to talk very broadly, and you're going to see this play out in some videos that I have coming up where I'm going to talk about some friendships. And just to be clear, the people who are my friends, because I know y'all watch these and I love you, you are my friends. That's not what I'm saying. And hopefully we stay friends. But you never know. You really never know. With me, you never know. And it's not that I end the friendships. It's just sometimes people get sick of me and they don't want to talk to me no more. But yeah, so I realized this. I had gotten into an argument with my cousin last week. We got into this big argument. It really felt more like a one-sided argument because she was mad. I wasn't really mad. I was surprised that she was mad. But basically, I had told her that, you know, because I have many issues with my mom and she's close to my mom, that I feel like it'd be best for me not to, you know, talk to her about my issues with my mom. Hello, Sadie. Not to talk to her about issues with my mom because, you know, it puts her in the middle and I don't want to put her in the middle. So she got really offended and she was like, well, if you can't tell me 100%, you can't tell me everything, then what's the point of us having a relationship? And I was really upset and I was like, damn, is that serious for you? And I realized that I also, while talking to my sister and my friends and my therapist and my trauma therapist, I have a similar thinking. And it's crazy. I was so upset by her saying that, but I also think this way. And it's because I grew up in a family where we are very dysfunctional and we don't have boundaries. So throughout my friendships, I've always had an all or nothing, black and white type of thinking. So I didn't really get real friends until college, first of all. Nobody liked me K through 12, pre-K through 12. I'm just going, it is what it is. They didn't like me. I didn't really have no friends. I had a couple people who tolerated being around me, but they didn't really like me that much. And then the people who I thought were friends were also just very toxic people. It's whatever. I'll talk about it later. But in college, I would have multiple friendships where it would just be very toxic. And it would always come to like a boiling point where, you know, there'd be this big explosive thing happen and then suddenly we don't talk anymore. And there's a variety of different things and I'll go into it in other videos, but usually the trend that I see with these toxic friendships is a lack of boundaries. You know, a kind of like, why can't I go with you every single place that you go to? Why can't I know everyone who you talk to? You know, why can't I talk to everybody who you talk to? Why can't I move in with you and live with you? I get a lot of those. Sadie, you are really active today. Sadie, you cannot open the window yourself. I don't know what you're doing over there. But, yeah, so I have a lot of this black and white thinking. And even as I got more friends, I kind of was in this mindset of either you my friend and I can tell you everything, or you're an acquaintance and I don't tell you much, but we hang out sometimes. It's cool. And I realized when I was talking to my trauma therapist about that, she was like, that's not how it works. And I was like, what you mean? Isn't that what a friend is? Friend, you tell them everything. And she was like, well, a best friend, you tell them everything. And I was like, huh? And then she was like, well, there's a tiers of friends. You know, you have the people who you tell everything. You have people who you tell almost everything. You have people who you tell some of the things. And then you have acquaintances. And I was like, huh? Like my brain did not comprehend at all. I'm like, if you are my friend, I should be able to tell you everything. If I can't tell you everything, then we are acquaintances and we're not going to talk that much. You know, I mean, and I wouldn't go so far as to say we would have no relationship, but I have plenty of people who I consider acquaintances. You know, we talk sometimes. If they in the city, I might get lunch with them or dinner with them. We might hang out. You know, they say Merry Christmas and I say Merry Christmas back. But if something goes on, I'm not calling them to tell them about what happened. But they're acquaintances. And a lot of people would get offended by this when I would bring it up. Like, yeah, you're an acquaintance. Like, what's the problem? Because people wanted to be friends. They wanted to be called friends. They wanted to be referred to as friend. And they thought that I also was their friend. And I was like, how are we friends and we barely talk? Like, what do you mean? This makes no sense to me. And the crazy thing is that my therapist was explaining to me, people like me who have lots of trauma also struggle with social skills and like kind of like connecting to other people because we have attachment issues. You know, people with trauma do not have a secure attachment where they understand how to like connect and attach to other people and form friendships, partnerships, romantic relationships. You don't know how to do that because you didn't get that growing up. So for me, it's just kind of like, either I tell you everything, or I barely tell you anything, or I tell you nothing. You know, like even with my boss, well, a good boss, not the trash boss, but when I had a good boss, you know, he was more of an acquaintance, you know, and he might call me a friend sometime. Like one time he mentioned like, oh, as your former boss, I would say this, but as a friend, I would say this. And I was like, friend? No, you can't be friends with your boss. No, you're an acquaintance. You ask me how my weekend went, I'll tell you what I did. You ask me if I'm going to spend time with my family on Christmas, I say no, because I don't want to. But I'm not about to tell you all my traumas. I'm not about to tell you like all the problems that I have with different family members. I'm just going to say, I plan on doing nothing this Christmas, and that's okay. So I just never understood why people would get so confused. And I guess people thought that they were at least in like the third tier of friends, I guess. And I was telling my therapist, like, this stuff still makes no sense to me. Like, how can you be someone's friend and they're not comfortable telling you what's going on in their life? What are you there for if not for me to tell you what's going on in my life? And I was thinking more about it, and I had to have a conversation with my trauma therapist, my regular therapist, my sister, my friend, my other friend. Like, I had to talk to so many people about this because I was like, bro, I just don't get it. It just is not clicking in my brain, this whole tiers of friends thing. Like, either you my friend or you not. You know, you my friend or you friendly, but you ain't my friend. You know, it's different to me. And they were saying like, you know, not everybody deserves to hear your story, which is sweet. It's nice. I like it. I like saying that, you know. I can write it down, put it up on a board and say, not everyone deserves your story, Minu. You know, not everyone is worthy of hearing your story. You know, your story is special and unique and all that stuff. But for me, it's more like, because I come from this traumatic background, because I have parents who are narcissists, who gaslight me a lot, who try to tell me what reality is, I have developed this thing that I think my trauma therapist called like floodlighting, where it was like my way of connecting with someone is to share with them all of the worst parts of myself. And I guess that's not normal. I guess. I don't know. I'm not a normal person. But I guess it's not normal to, you know, tell people this. And I remember I was really bad about it in college because people would be like, hey, Minu, how are you? And I'd be like, awful. My mom pissed me off and let me tell you about it. And I never understood the whole people say, hi, how are you? But it's just a greeting. It's not actually a question. And I never understood that until I started working. And I was like, oh, no one actually cares about your feelings. They just want to say that because it sounds nice to say, hi, how are you? You know, or if they say, how was your weekend? You're supposed to just say good or fine. And then they walk away versus actually telling them what you did that weekend, which I just feel like that's just really fake and I don't like it. And don't ask me that question if you don't mean it. But whatever, is how people do things, I guess, you know, whatever. But like my thing and my trauma, and not my trauma therapist, but my regular therapist was asking me like, you know, okay, something goes wrong. Who's the first, you know, two people? Because they were like, you're only allowed to have two best friends. Any more than that, it's not happening. And I was like, geez, only two people in my life I'm supposed to be able to tell 100% of what goes on in my life to? That's crazy. But they was like, okay, so something happens to you, who's first people you call? So I was like, doop, doop, doop. At least three people, you know, outside of my therapist, get an immediate update, and then there are some people who get a less immediate update, and then there's some people who I just don't bring it up at all, because they're acquaintances. But there's at least 3 people who I'm like, I gotta tell you immediately what just happened to me. And, you know, like, that's just what I did. And then she said, well, are any of these people, not those top 3 people, but the people who I didn't immediately notify of what happened, and I waited a little bit and I notified them later, is there anything that I feel hesitant talking about with them? And I was like, no. I'm very blunt. You know, if I feel like you're doing something stupid, I let you know. I won't say you stupid, but I'd be like, I wouldn't do that. That sounds like a bad idea. I literally, I tell so much of my business. Part of the reason I have this channel is to tell so much of my business. Like, I tell so much of my business, like, people knew what my bowel movements were like. Like, I would tell them, like, you know, like, I went to the bathroom and there was blood, The only time I went is that I know now that you know, you shouldn't say that when people are eating. But other than that, like, people would know about my bowel movements. You know, I'd be like, I hurt myself, my ass hurts, you know. If I considered you a friend, I would let you know that my ass hurts and that I didn't poop today, or I did poop today and it was bad. You know, if I considered you my friend, I felt like I should be able to say that to you, versus, I guess, in normal relationships, there are some people who you would say that to, and then there's a bunch of people who you consider your friends who you wouldn't say that to. Like, I just don't get it. Because for me, I don't think there's anything wrong with being an acquaintance of somebody. Like, I have somebody who I could consider, like, if we're going basically off the whole, you tell them 100% of everything, I would consider that person one of my best friends. That person would probably consider me to be just a friend, because it's a one-sided friendship. Like, I tell them everything and they tell me some of the things. And that's okay. I'm not offended that they don't tell me everything about their life. One, they're much older than me, so they probably have best friends who are much older, who are their age, who they talk to. But it doesn't offend me that I'm not, like, the first person that they call when something goes wrong or when they need to vent about something. It don't offend me like that. Like, I know my place in their thing. And the same way with some friends where I know that I'm just an acquaintance for them, and that's okay. But it's like, if you tell someone that they're your acquaintance, like, yeah, I'll invite you to my birthday party if you're in town. We're going to get lunch. We can get dinner. We can spend hours talking. But then outside of that, we never talk. You're an acquaintance. I have no problem with an acquaintance coming around and being a part of things that I do. Like, if I threw a big party, or like a bridal shower, wedding shower, whatever the fuck people do as adults when they have people over, I still invite you. Like, me calling someone an acquaintance is not an insult. It's not a downgrade. Most of the people who I talk to are acquaintances. There's very few of the people who I consider my friends, and I consider them my friends because of the fact that I feel like I can tell them everything. And I may not tell a person every single thing. Like, I got dinner with a friend recently and I said, look, we don't talk that much. She's really bad at initiating conversations. But I know that if I needed to, I could tell her anything that happened to me. And so I still consider her a friend, even though we don't talk every single day or even every month, you know. We can still get together and we can talk about anything and everything. So I still consider her my friend. So I guess the way that I think about things in terms of friendships is so not healthy. And I know that I have some friends who would rather not hear about those details, and they've been downgraded to acquaintance. But I mean, I still love them. I still love them as acquaintances, but I just know that there's this boundary there where they don't know everything. But if something happens, I reach out to them and say, hey, I really need a ride to the doctor. Can you do it? And, you know, either they're willing to do it or they're not, and it's not going to hurt my feelings. But some of the toxic friendships I've had in the past, which I'll go into detail in other videos, it was more of like, you know, it's all or nothing. It's we go everywhere together. We talk about everything together. I'm in your business. I know everything you do every day. And if I don't, then we're not friends, or we're not connecting the way we need to. And you need to be, you know, doing everything that I say and agreeing with everything that I say. There was just no boundaries whatsoever. And this is something that I'm really going to have to work on as I get, you know, you know, I have more friends and I have more real connections that I form with people. I know that I'm going to have to work on like my kind of all or nothing thinking, and maybe not tell people that I consider them an acquaintance. It's just, for me, I just feel like in order for me to really connect with you, you have to really know me. And if you don't really know me, then what are we doing? You know, I mean, we can just do the acquaintance thing and just have dinner and talk about basic stuff. Yeah, work's going good. You know, Sadie's good. I'm not calling you Sadie. No, I said I'm not calling you. Anyway, but I'm not gonna call you a friend if we haven't talked in a year, but you come out to the city and now you want to get lunch. You know, you're an acquaintance. It's fine. It's okay. It's okay to be an acquaintance. There are some people who I don't even know as well as I know people who I've known for like years who are higher level than those people. There are some people who I consider friends who I've known for a year, like Raven, my best friend. And there are people who I've known for 6 years who are more of an acquaintance or like friendly, you know, because we hardly ever talk. And when we do, it's about very basic level things. But if we were to start talking again and we were to start communicating and talking about things that are actually going on in our lives and things that are bothering us that we're working on, then that person can come back up and be friend. It's very fluid, you know. It's not like I shut anybody out of my life. It's not like I treat anybody differently. I still like you. I still spend time with you. Because if I don't like you, you're not going to have a response when you text me. I'm not going to answer when you call me. When I'm spring cleaning my friendships, my friends on Facebook and Instagram, whatever, you will be deleted if we not acquaintances or friends. So anybody who watches this who knows me, just understand, if I'm still talking to you and spending time with you, I like you. And I want to continue talking with you and spending time with you. It doesn't matter if you're a friend or an acquaintance or a best friend. If I like you, I like you. If I didn't, you wouldn't hear from me. But that's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to muse about that a little bit. It's still all up in the air. You know, I kind of had this just epiphany talking to my therapist about, you know, why relationships for me always go south. Most of them. I got a few that's still hanging on, but a lot of them tend to go south. And I just wanted to, you know, talk a little bit about that, explore that a bit with somebody, because like, that's the whole purpose of this channel, is to just kind of like, you know, talk about my identity, talk about what I'm going through, and kind of just explore how I feel about these things. But know that I really appreciate everybody who subscribes, everybody who, you know, tunes in to watch these videos. I know some of you just play them in the background, and that's completely cool. I still appreciate you listening to me, because I just really want to, you know, I'd rather be heard than be seen. So, thank you all so much for tuning in every week or every other week whenever you check in. And I will see you guys next week with a better, more well thought out video. All right, Sadie. Sadie also wants to say she's sick and tired of me talking to the camera, and now she wants to take a nap on my white pillows. I gotta lint roll my white pillows again. Okay, anyway, love you guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye.